Hi class. Today I'm going to show you how to make a grayscale. So first of all, you need to have your materials. You need to have your water, your brush, your acrylic paint. I have Mars Black and Titanium White. I have two different brands, that's fine. And I also have a palette knife, which is optional, and some kind of paper towel or napkin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start and go from white to black. I'm going to start with the white because I think black has a stronger tinting power. So I'm going to put plenty of white on my palette. So this is my palette paper. You can use a plexiglass piece or a plate, a coated paper plate, but I like palette paper because it's really easy to use and it's meant for painting. I'm going to put a little bit of black out as well. And I'm going to get started. So the very first thing I want to do is soak. You notice I've been soaking my brush in water a little bit. That makes sure that the water goes into the bristles and it doesn't ruin the brush when you get paint up there. So I'm just going to go ahead and dry that off a little bit. I'm going to start by mixing. Now many of you aren't going to have a palette knife, so I'm going to show you how to do that first. So very first thing is I'm going to take a little bit of this white, and if it's a little, mine's a little dry because it's a little bit old. I'm going to take a little bit of the white, add some water to it, and I'm going to make my first swatch. Making a swatch, you go one direction, and you go the other direction to make it nice and smooth. Keep going back and forth. Okay, so that's swatch number one, the white. Then I'm going to take this white, actually, you can see it's kind of clumpy. I'm going to take this, I'm going to add a tiny, tiny bit of black. So you can see that's hardly any, but it might even be too much. Look how quickly that turned. So we want a really careful gradation from white to black. This is, or a really slow gradation. So this is, you know, a lot of black on that first one. I'm going to add some more white to it just by mixing it around and see what I can do. Now remember, you're probably going to be matching these to the grayscale I have on the slideshow. So you want to have a choice. So I'm going to go ahead and paint this. Again, going both directions. You can see it's a little bit darker, so I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to add a little more. And I'm going to do the next gray, and you just want to have a gradual transition. Okay, you can see I'm adding more. Slight change. If it feels too thick, you can add more water. That's a pretty big jump, I think, but I'm going to go for it. Okay, a little more black. You're just going to keep on going. At a certain point, you're going to get to a point where you can't get any darker because there's always going to be a little white in it. So you might start with the black and add a little bit of white to it. But right now we're going to keep going, just adding black to the white. Okay, a little water in case it's drying out, a little more black. And again, you really don't want any big jumps. You want to see a gradual transition from white to black. And that one's looking pretty close to the one I just did. So I think I want to add a little more black to that. Touch more water. And okay, a little more black. So I'm adding more and more black because I need to build up the darkness, and the white is pretty strong still. You can see it's darker along there. I need to make sure I go across and blend that really well. Okay, I'm going to go for more black. And you'll notice that the paint that has, usually more expensive paint has stronger pigment, so that means it takes less paint to make your color or your value. I'm using Galleria brand for the black, which is a cheaper brand, and I think it's by Winsor Newton. And I'm using Liquitex for the white, and the white is actually better paint. So it's a little stronger tinting power. I like to put my values next to each other so I can see that it's getting darker as I go along. Okay, I'm going to add more of that. I'm adding quite a bit of black here. All right, I think I maybe need something in between, so I'm going to just add a little more white to that and do another version here. Okay, I'm looking up here. This looks a little like a pretty big transition, so I'm not sure that's going to work, but I'm just taking note. Then I'm going to clean my brush. So the best thing to do when you clean your brush is to wipe it first, paper towel or tissue, and then clean your brush. Make figure eights. Clean your brush super well. The reason why you take the paint off of the brush before you clean it in water is because you want to get as much of the plastic. This paint is actually dry as plastic, so you want to make sure that you get it all off so eventually it won't clog your pipes. So it's really important. Won't hurt a little bit here and there, but to clean it the best you can is important. Okay, so here I'm going to go for the straight black. I think we're to that stage. I cleaned and dried my brush. I'm getting the straight black. And looking over things, I see kind of a big jump here. And, well, I think I'll just let it dry, and then if I have to make more, I'll make more. Okay, so that's how you make a grayscale on paint. Next video, I'll show you how to put it all together into a value finder.